everybody. I'm Evie Roberts, and this is my podcast, Talking in the Dark. Welcome. The aim of this podcast is to raise awareness about blindness, visual impairment, and disability in general, in a happy and light-hearted way. For those of you that don't know, I am blind. I was born with a condition called bilateral anophthalmia. Try spelling that one. It basically means that when I was born, my eyes didn't develop properly, so I wear prosthetics instead. The goal of this podcast is to remove some of the stigma and stereotypes around disabilities, whilst also having fun at the same time. Each week, I will be interviewing people from all walks of life, including some with hidden or physical disabilities like mine, and getting to know a little bit more about them and the lives they lead. This week, I am very excited to tell you that I will be talking to Stuart Hann, the Blind Chocolatier. My name is Evie Roberts, and this is my podcast, Talking in the Dark. Welcome. Hi Stuart, how are you?
Hiya, not bad, nice to meet you.
Oh, it's lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
That's okay. It's always good to help another person out.
Yeah, definitely. Well, how's your day going? Have you been up to anything nice?
So today I've just been at home doing a bit of office work and tidying up, and I've made some bread and some food and stuff. Because being a chef for so long, you never stop making food.
Yeah, but I can definitely imagine. Would you say that kind of like being in the kitchen and making food and things like that, is that a bit of an escape for you, a bit of a coping mechanism type thing?
Yes, it's quite good because in the shop I work on my own, which I don't mind because you just get on with stuff. And but then I have worked with like in big establishments with lots of people as well. But it is quite good because you get a bit of peace and quiet, and you can just get on with stuff. And obviously, with working on my own, I deal with all the customers as well, which is good. So you get customers that start to know you.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be really nice. So to begin with, I know that like me, you have a visual impairment. So could you tell me a little bit about your VI condition?
Yes, so I've got Leber's optic and hereditary neuropathy, LOHN. Basically, the optic nerve has died. So the doctor sort of explains it as like the eyes work and the brain works, but the cable in between doesn't. So it affects my central vision. I used to be able to see fine, could drive, and I went for an eye test, and then I got sent to all the different hospitals because it's a rare eye condition. They don't really know much about it until you go to the specialist doctors. So it took over 12 months to get diagnosed because they sent the blood to the wrong hospital. But I've always been a chef and I won't be able to do anything else. So I just adapted and sort of got on. And then from that, I decided I want my own business so I can control what I'm doing, and I don't have managers that aren't sort of willing to help.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. It's like that sort of self-advocacy thing, isn't it? If you're in control, it always helps. But I mean, was that quite a lot to process, going from having the ability to drive and do everything to then finding out that you have a visual impairment?
Yeah, so it was quite a lot at the time. With the first year before I got diagnosed, I was literally waking up not knowing whether I was going to be able to see the next day, because my eye condition, it sort of happens within like the first month and then it stays stable, but took so long to find out. So, but I've got a good group of friends and stuff that helped us. And I did have a bit of time off work because they put me into a risk assessment without actually doing it properly. But then from that, I got my job back as like a store man. And then from that, I went back on the pastry section because no one could do it properly. And then that's when I decided if I have my own business, I can do what I want work a lot more now, but it's for myself, so it's better.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've kind of mentioned already that you trained as a pastry chef, but what made you want to venture into making chocolates?
Well, just I thought there's a gap in the market in the area we're in with sort of more colourful, nicer looking chocolates. And the village where I grew up, I don't live there anymore. There was a unit that came up, so I just sort of decided I've been doing it at home for long enough now. I'm going to turn it into a business, and so sort of I only started the business full time after lockdown, but I was always there. I was there a year part time while still working full time. So I was a bit sick of having two full time jobs.
Right, yeah, no, I can totally imagine that. So what would you say you enjoy about making chocolates?
So probably the thing you enjoy the most is making different flavors and trialing new things, and obviously all the customers good feedback. And I make different chocolates. I've got gluten-free ones, vegan ones, caramel ones. In the area I'm in, sticky toffee pudding's popular, so I've got like sticky toffee truffles, and it's just being playful and getting to make lots of different things. Like previously, I've made satin out of chocolate and had it hanging on a bit of fishing wire. Easter's always really good because you got a bigger area and you can be a bit more playful with colours and designs.
Oh wow, I mean that sounds incredible. So talking about making sort of different flavors then, kind of what gives you the inspiration to make new flavors?
Some things it's just what's trending and what's popular, because obviously if there's something that's all over Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, if it's something popular, people have seen it, so they're going to know what it is. And like things are like chocolate and orange, they're like the classic flavors. Um, there's a few sort of slightly different flavors that I've done in the past. Some have worked, some haven't, but it's just basically most of it's the popular stuff, and then you do a few slight different stuff as testers.
Right, okay. So, I mean, you mentioned like the more kind of extravagant things like making satin out of chocolate. I mean, where does the inspiration for that sort of stuff come from?
I've just in the shop. I've got a bit of a space where it's like just no use. So I've got different display things that I've made, and I don't know where. I think I just decided I want to do it because I think I might have been watching programs on Facebook and watching like the Great British Bake Off and stuff like that. Thinking I'm gonna make some stuff. I've done a chess set before. That was just a mold that I bought, but which looks quite good. It's just all sort of different little things that you can make. So sort of, last one Christmas I made a massive snowman out of chocolate. He was probably about 70 centimeters tall. Um, and I've done all sorts of different things. It's just they're sort of things to stop me getting a bit bored and keep me creative and doing different like random things. Like just recently, someone asked me to do a trumpet out of chocolate, and it had to have the plastic thing in the end, so it actually worked. It was for some display they were doing. And so I've never done a trumpet before, but it just ended up looking like a big cone.
Oh, right, okay. So would you say then that you're someone who really liked being busy and having things to do?
Yeah, there's always lots to do, like especially when you're working on your own in the business. There's always more jobs to do than you've got time. So you just sort of keep picking away at them and doing different things. Like so, it's all like the invoices and the admin and stuff like that is quite time consuming.
Yeah, I can completely imagine. Now, I'm sure people are sort of curious about the production process when you have limited sight. So, could you talk me through how the process works?
Yeah, so with the production process, so I apart from a couple of things, I buy all the chocolate in, and it comes in like little pellets that basically look like little chocolate buttons. Um, so you melt them, and then you've got all your molds. Your polycarbonate molds got to be all nice and clean. So I melt and temper different coloured cocoa butters, and so you sort of paint them into the molds, and then you pour the melted tempered chocolate onto it, and then you tap it. So all basically you're filling all the gaps in, and then you're taking all the chocolate out, and then like if it was a caramel filling, it would be sugar that you caramelized with cream and salt, and then more chocolate. Like normally you make all the fillings first, so you do everything in stages. And the only thing sort of with my eye condition that makes it worse is I've got to sort of double check and look, like reading the coloured cocoa butters or using magnifier, um, painting the molds and stuff doesn't really change it much. But I've basically just got to make sure I work a bit cleaner, just like with the piping bag, make sure I take the end off and put it in the bin straight away, not on the side, to eliminate any chance of you could contaminate anything. And then you leave the chocolates to set, and then you put another layer over the chocolate, which is the cap. And then after about 6 hours, they should be fully set, and you can turn them out. Most chocolates, most recipes for chocolates you can make them have reasonably long shelf life. But with my eye condition, it's probably just making sure I look and be a bit more observant with the processes.
Yeah, definitely. I can imagine. So, as a blind chocolatier, do you face sort of a variety of reactions from people?
Yeah, you get all sorts. It's normally the husband that, because I don't look blind, so you get people that come in the shop and they've not read the 2 meter sign saying the blind chocolatier or the sign about me, and they're like, "You're not blind." You explain it, and then they normally feel bad and buy something. So it works that way. But because I don't look blind, you do get people that don't believe me until you explain it. It's like the fire brigade have asked me to join them twice because they were going around trying to get people to join the fire brigade. I'm like, I don't think it's the best idea. Have you read the name of the shop? And they just looked and go, oh, maybe not then.
Yeah, I feel like out of all the people they could pick, I don't know if someone with a visual impairment would be the best idea, but
No,
I guess the sentiment's there. Um, but I think it's tricky, the phrase you don't look blind. I mean, you should never assume whether someone is or isn't blind. And considering the fact that you've got the whole sign and the stuff about you, it's almost obvious that you are actually blind, but people still doubt that.
yeah, that's partly of the business name, because living in the Lake District, I was going to have Lake District chocolates, but everything's Lake District this or Lake District something. And someone said, "Well, you are the blind chocolatier, so if you go with that, it raises awareness for your eye condition, and when I'm taking longer in the shop, people understand." And also it fits in well. And as far as I know, I'm the only blind chocolatier.
Yeah, you probably are. And I mean, it's a great name. And yeah, it kind of kills two birds with one stone. It makes sense to everyone. Um, Now you have already kind of mentioned that you have your own shop in the Lake District. Can you tell me a bit about how that came about?
Yes, so the shops, there's like it's called Staveley Mill Yard, which is in Staveley where I grew up, and there's a big cycle shop there, a brewery, a bakery, and one of the units came up, and I just decided, instead of going, oh, should I do it? I just sort of jumped in and started setting up the business. And apart from the first lockdown, I was at the hotel, so it wasn't too bad. But the second two, um, I just had to shut and do like click and collect. But there's basically in the shop downstairs. Half of the shop is for production, and the other half is where the shop is. It's only a small shop. There's basically just like a counter and some shelves, and then upstairs I got loads of storage. It's just the unit came up, and I thought you might as well try and see what happens. And then at least I'm working for myself and like being more productive, because I didn't want to just sit at home and feel sorry for myself, because now I've got a visual impairment.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, kind of look where taking that almost leap of faith in a way has got you, you've been able to do incredible things. And so sometimes I think it is important to just not really think about it, just literally take that leap of faith because you don't know what's going to come out of that.
Yeah, and I've done I've had all sorts of different interviews and stuff from it as well, which is good. That just gets more awareness, and there's always something you can be doing, and someone that wants something. And there's not many people that don't like chocolate.
Yes, exactly. You've got a very good point there. So as a visually impaired business owner, have you encountered any challenges sort of regarding inclusivity and accessibility?
Well, I think for me, it's just basically taking longer to do all the paperwork. Like I've got a laptop, and then I've just got a big monitor. With the business, it's deliveries. It's probably the hardest bit because I'm visually impaired. But quite a lot of customers can pick the orders up if it's like corporate orders. But it's just basically stuff takes a bit longer, and some things that you don't think is going to take longer can. So like even stuff like reading labels. The person that can see will look and go, "That's the right label." I've got to get my phone and go on the magnifier and go through. But so just some things can take longer because I basically just got to double check I'm using the right ingredient or the right label for the product I'm doing.
Yeah, I can totally imagine. But I think that you kind of just like, or I know I know I've spoken to a few guests on the podcast about this, about how you kind of just adapt to your surroundings and you adapt to the challenges that you might face because you're kind of constantly problem solving in a way. But you just get used to that and you work, you work out how to get around those challenges.
Yeah, well, there's some things that like I've done, and my friends who can see it, are like, "How do you do that?" I'm like, "We're just used to it now," and just like, but then like at home, I'm not allowed to do DIY, but then I wasn't very good at doing DIY when I could see, so it's not really a skill that I've that I've lost.
Yeah, not much has changed there. Um, but yeah, no, it's like you kind of, I think when you have a disability, you're kind of constantly problem solving without even realizing it. It's a subconscious thing because you do it so much, because you've got to find different ways of doing most tasks. But you say that kind of your friends are sort of in disbelief as to how you do things, but then to you, it just feels completely normal.
Yeah, it's just like because you do get people that come in the shop and goes, "Well, I've tried to do stuff with chocolate and I've failed," and like, and you're doing all this really nice, colourful stuff, this, and you can't see it as well. And it's like we just learn to change and do different things and have stuff in the right place. Because obviously, when you can't see as well, having to spend time looking for everything. So if everything's got its place and it's all organised, it's a lot easier to work.
Yeah, absolutely. I can relate to that because, well, in several ways. I mean, just around like my bedroom, like, I mean, organization is key. Even just around my bedroom and stuff, everything is organized because if it wasn't, I'm pretty sure I'd break a bone tripping over something. But also I take food tech for GCSE as well. And everything for me, I've been really working on organization lately, trying to keep everything in certain places because if I put something like I don't know, an inch too far to the left, I'm not going to find that for a solid 30 seconds. So, yeah, organization is definitely key there. Leading on then, what would you say has been your proudest moment so far?
I don't know, just sort of customers' reactions and knowing because at first I was wary as like people just buying the chocolate because they've seen the sign and they want to, but then you know that they're coming back time and time again. So at least you like because sometimes you doubt is the product good enough, is it right? But then you get lots if you come in just to try it, you still get the sale, but then the chocolates sort of speak for themselves. Probably just turn like not sitting at home and feeling sorry for myself and just going, well, I could sit at home and do nothing, but like I'd rather work and be busy. So probably just not letting my eye condition sort of affect me is probably a proud thing.
Yeah, definitely. So what would you say then are your sort of goals and aspirations for the future?
So for the future, I sort of want to get into a few more like sort of retail and hotel premises, and just keep building my chocolates I'm doing, and getting better with the chocolates that I'm doing, and then eventually I'd like to have a business that's actually making the chocolate bean to bar. I do a few I do like an oat milk one now, but I'm buying all the stuff in and doing small amounts. But it's sort of be nice to be able to make whichever percentage of grade, a flavour chocolate that I want with all the beans. But that's a whole nother business, really. And then in the next couple of years, I'll definitely need a member of staff to do the shop side and some of the admin stuff, so I can actually be producing and making more chocolates.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I wish you all the best of luck with that, and I'm sure that that will all happen eventually. But thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I mean, what you do is absolutely incredible. Um, I actually know firsthand because you were kind enough to send us through a big box of the chocolate that you make, and I tried one earlier, and they are absolutely amazing. So thank you for that. But honestly, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been such a privilege to get to talk to you. So thank you for giving up some of your time.
No problem, thank you.
And thank you to my audience for listening, and I will see you all next time.